Good evening. We are here to discuss Gloom.
Okay. Yeah, it's Gloom.
Yep, Gloom. So, before we go into that, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell over there so you can follow along when we play on happier times.
That's right.
But today we're going to be gloomy because this is Gloom.
Yeah.
So, it's actually pretty funny, though.
It's
dark humor. If you like dark humor, this is the game. All right, so tell us more about it.
All right, so this, the first printing of Gloom came out in 2005. They've had... It looks like at least 2 more reprintings in 2009 and 2014. But it's tough to find the base game for retail. You have to go to a third party. But we'll talk about that in a moment. So overall rank is 1,970 with a rated score of 6.3. Designed by Keith Baker. Several artists, Michelle Nephew, J. Scott Reeves, and Todd Remick. Published by Atlas Games. So like I said, it's kind of out of print. I've seen a version on Board Game Co. for $10. Geek Market, $10 to $15. eBay had it for $26.
All right. So, talking about the quality components, these are all just see-through cards. The game is designed that way because this is like one of the earliest, if not the earliest, version of layering of cards. You don't have sleeves you slide them in this necessarily, although you could sleeve them.
But the premise is still the same. Everything you see through it is important.
Yes. And what you cover is important.
Yes.
So, I mean, the cards are good, nice.
Yeah, they're good things. They're just slippery.
Yeah.
And they kind of stick in the deck, but that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I mean, they do get a little banged up. I mean, this is an old game, and it's got a few nicks and such, and the cards makes it a little harder to see through them, but you can still see clearly because they're pretty bold as far as the numbers. All in all, I think, there's not much to the game.
It's a card game.
But what is there is pretty well done. I'd probably give it, 6.57, somewhere in there.
I think a 6.5 was a good score.
All right. So, the theme. Now, this is where this game shines.
It really does.
If you love dark humor, this game is extremely dark.
And it's very tongue-in-cheek.
Yes. You got all kinds of humor on the characters. You've got a family of 5 very strange people. Or not necessarily always people in some cases.
That's true.
But you've got 5 cards that represent your family that currently do not have any kind of pathos associated with them. And you're going to assign pathos cards to them to try to make them more gloomy.
Right.
And they have backstory. So all the cards you play have like humorous things that happen to them.
Right.
Like you had Perturbed by Pudding.
Yeah, I had Perturbed by Pudding, which is my favorite card that I've seen so far. So, I mean, it had to be some pretty bleak pudding.
Yeah, I had mine with, whenever, then they have cards that actually kill them off, which you want to do while they are just, in their most disturbed state. Right. And when they do, you have to kind of give a story as you go along. You don't have to. It's not required, but it makes it more fun.
It makes it a lot lot more fun.
I mean,
Caleb was mauled by manatees. So.
Yes. And I was eaten by lemurs.
Yep.
I mean, you just got to try to kind of weave your story about all the things that happen. I have one character that went really well together because I had a picnic they were sent to, and at the picnic they got all kinds of sores from sitting,
and then attacked by tigers.
They were taunted by tigers. They were not attacked by.
They were just
the lemurs are what attacked them and ultimately killed them. But they had something happened from eating too that tied into the picnic, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, you just have to come up and weave this story. Yeah. But I mean, it's so much fun just coming up with the character stories as you play the cards.
Yep.
And the thing is this is a very vicious take that
really
game, but you don't mind it because it's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I was brutally attacked during this game.
So Caleb and I intentionally went after Randy.
Yeah. And even though I was losing badly,
and
you gave up the game.
I gave up the game. I could have won the game because I didn't realize Caleb had a card that's more valuable than Randy's, and I just wanted to take out Randy.
So he totally
my short-sightedness lost me the game.
Yeah, I kind of feel good about that. But yeah, I mean, thematically, I love this game. I mean, there's not much to it.
It's so much fun.
But it's so much fun with the different characters and the add-ons of the story that you're putting on them.
And it's the exact opposite of what normally you do in a game. You know, you're supposed to build yourself up. No, these are taken down and get the worst possible score that you can get for that character before you intentionally kill them off.
Yeah.
And so it's just so much fun.
So different. Given the darkness and the dark humor in this game, I'm probably at a 9.
I agree. That thematically it's a treat. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about the rule book, which is not really a rule book too much. It's so much
a rule pamphlet,
piece of paper that's folded several ways. But the box it comes in is basically just a card box for 2 decks, which that's the biggest complaint I got about quality was the card box.
Right.
We didn't talk about that, but the box that came in didn't hold up over time.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been fine in 2005, but in 2022, it's not.
The cards slide out the bottom. Yeah. It's like almost like an Uno deck of card box. And yeah, I've lost a few of my green cards for the characters for the green family. So I can't even play 4 players. I can only play a 3-player right now. So I'm hoping to replace it.
Right.
But as far as the rules, it was pretty clear, even though it's just a black and white page, how it worked. We did have to refer back a couple of times. There's no cheat card, which would have been nice to have it while you're playing.
I don't know. Well, you could have
summarized this onto a cheat card very easily.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's such a simple game.
Well, it is, but we still had a couple questions during it. When do you have to play 2 cards?
The timing wise of it.
Yeah, timing. I think it would have been nice to have had it on a cheat card, and it wouldn't have hurt at all. But the rules are straightforward, and it's very simple read. I don't like the way it's folded and everything. It's kind of a mess, but this is a dated rule book, dated game. Hopefully, like the newer versions will have better rules.
We're going to be looking for it because I actually think about getting this too because I think this would be a good game to take to a light game to take to a party.
It's definitely good for Halloween.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, as far as the rulebook goes, I'm probably going to give this a 5. I don't think it's anything special, and I think it could have been enhanced with a cheat card to have in front of you while you're playing. So, on to the gameplay. So, as we mentioned, you have a family of 5 miscreants that are in your family, and there's a backstory for each one of the characters.
And you have a hand of 5 cards.
Yeah, and the rulebook does have a backstory for all the families, which was fun to read.
Which is fun.
You have a hand of 5 cards, and those cards will either have be modifiers for your characters or other players, because you can play on anybody's board. You don't have to play on yours. You can play on other people or yourself. But they have ones that are positive and negative on points, and there's 3 positions for them on the left side. So the top, middle, and bottom have circles potentially. This one only has a top and middle one. But you're going to choose to play these on 2 characters. So if it's negative, I'm probably going to play them on mine. But at the bottom in the text, sometimes it's just flavor text, but other times it's negative effects that you'll have or positive effects. But usually the positive effects go with the ones that add points to you, which you typically don't want.
And it's very similar stuff. It's giving you extra card draws or taking away card draws, or it's mostly card drawing, or it's just taking or stealing stuff. Like I had a really neat card that I played it, and I got to steal a card from both Randy and Caleb, and got to play them.
Yeah. So on your turn, the first action, you get 2 actions. You can either play cards, discard cards, or you can just skip them. You don't have to take 2 actions.
But you have to do at least one.
Yeah, but your first action is the only time you can actually play a kill card, where injure,
untimely death.
Untimely death, and you play it, but you can only play an untimely death on a card that is already negative.
Right.
So you can't have somebody built up positive on another player and kill them off while they're positive, it's screwing them over on points. But you can do it when they're very little negative, like negative 5, and then they won't get.
And then they can't modify it.
Yeah, it's just dead. So the first card is the only time you can play that unless an event alters that rule. But so on this case, I will play this. I'm going to play was pierced by porcupines, and we'll play it on Butterfield because I really don't like him. So we're going to put it on him, and he's got -10 and -5, so -15 on his pathos now. So he's actually eligible to die. But again, I cannot use my second card to play it.
Right.
I have to wait until my next turn. So
but you got 2 other people, potentially in our game, 2 other people that can change that.
So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to make him even more negative. So he's not only was he pierced by porcupines, but he was also cursed by the queen.
Queen of the porcupines?
It covers it up. And actually, the -5 on here is now covered up with a -15. So he's now got a -10, -15, -20. He's worth 45 points now.
Which is huge.
Which is a big score.
Yeah.
But this one comes with a penalty. Immediately discard my entire hand when this card is played. So these other 3 cards, and I had
how good they are.
2 kill cards in here, but I have to get rid of them. I have to discard them. And then I draw back up at the end of my turn, back up to 5.
Unless you have cards that say you can't do that.
Yeah, some cards will negatively make it where you can't draw at the end of your turn or skip your turn or something.
Draw less cards.
Yeah. So, now I wait till my next turn and I can, hopefully have a card. Well, in this case, I didn't get any that I can kill with. So I'm still stuck with it. But by the time my turn comes around, somebody could have easily played on this and changed this so it's no longer negative. Or they might
not as negative.
Yeah, or they might play a card that eliminates. Or there's actually cards that say cancel an effect. So when I tried to play one of these negative cards, they could have canceled it.
Well, yeah, or you can have people that are jerks and make you lose 2 turns like they did to me.
So, yeah, there's all kinds of effects you can play, not only on your own, but I could have played just as easily on Rob's card. Like this one has a positive 15 and a 0, so it would cover it up icons he might have already had in there.
Right.
And it gives him an effect. It says your draw limit is increased by 1 card while this shows.
So now I can hold 6 instead of 5.
So I've given him a positive, but that character's now given him a positive 15, and positive scores are bad.
Yep.
So in this case, he's got to cover that up eventually, and when he does cover it up, if it covers up the effect, he loses the effect.
Correct.
So this is this goes back and forth until someone has managed to kill off all family members in their family. And there's times where that might be a positive thing for another player. Maybe you have 4 characters that have low scoring points that are already dead, and somebody's beating you, and they decide, I'm going to go ahead and kill your character for you.
Yep.
Because it's not going to generate that many points, and I'll still win the game based on the points that I have in play, which are you only count the ones that are dead family members. So your living family members may have a bunch of negative points on them. Doesn't matter. You're not going to get points for them.
Because they're not dead.
Yep. So it's only the deceased that score in this. So, I love dark humor. I love, it fits in with my murder mysteries. This is a good game to be played like right around Halloween, prep for the murder mystery, or to prep for just playing in a fun game. It's a quick filler game. It's a lot of fun. And it's not, it doesn't take up much time to get it in, get it out, even to learn it. It's super quick.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, even though it's mean, it's not mean for the sake of like where you feel bad or you feel angry that's being done. It's because it's so funny, you don't mind it.
Yeah.
And so...
normally I would get very agitated by what happened in this game where 2 people were ganging up on me clearly. But it didn't bother me so much because the cards was just so much fun.
And I was perturbed by pudding.
Yes.
So, you can't go wrong with that.
and I kind of felt like I was, these are people changing my story. So now I have to figure out how to weave them into my story. I had more fun telling the story of these characters as opposed
especially the one guy that was killed by lamers because so much happened to him.
Yes. So
it's hilarious. It's funny.
So all in all, I really like this game, and I'm frustrated I haven't got to the table in so long.
And there's so many expansions that we've not even seen, and there's even some. There's I just was looking up the stats, and there's a Gloom of Thrones version, so that'd be hilarious to play.
Yeah. All in all, I think I'm an 8 on it. I think that's where I'm at.
I think 8's a good score. It's a lot of fun, and I think it could be even more fun if we look at the expansions. So it might even be a little bit better than that after including some of those.
Yeah, and we are going to get to meet with Atlas Games, whom to make this at Gen Con, and looking forward to talking with them, seeing what they have as far as in store for Gloom. So we'll be able to report back to you soon.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah. So. All right, well, that is Gloom. If you've played it, tell us what you think. This is an oldie but a goodie.
What funny deaths that you have. Like some of the funny stuff that you
experienced. Yeah, we love to hear funny stories of bad, tragic things happening to people. Especially fictitious people.
That's right.
Not so much real people. But so hopefully we will see you at Gen Con if we don't hear from you before in the comments. But if not, we'll talk to you when we get back. There'll still be videos going while we're gone. In fact, I'm not sure when this one will air. It might actually be while we're at Gen Con. So, hey, hopefully we saw you while you were at Gen Con. But Yeah, it
He
should be
probably
coming
will
up.
not have the hat at Gen Con.
I
so you know.
definitely will not have the hat at Gen Con. It's barely sting on my head. My big head does not do well with hats. So, but yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.